Ladies and gentlemen, today's video isn't about the routine victories, the familiar top seeds, or the rankings you can recite in your sleep. No, what we're witnessing here is something different, something that challenges the way we define success in modern sport. It's about the power of the underdog, the surge of a rising star, and the idea that influence can be forged on the court long before titles and trophies are even considered. At the 2026 Australian Open, a new story was written, one that is sure to echo through the tennis world for years to come. It didn't involve a seasoned champion or a headline-grabbing upset. Instead, it was about 18-year-old Iva Jovic, a young American who delivered one of the most significant performances of her burgeoning career. When she stepped onto the court to face Jasmine Paolini, the 7th seed, few could have predicted what would unfold. Paolini, a two-time Grand Slam finalist, seemed almost invincible on paper. But Jovic, undeterred and hungry for a breakthrough, was determined to flip the script. It wasn't just another match. This was a moment, a turning point, where Jovic transcended the role of the hopeful outsider and stepped into the spotlight as a legitimate contender. In the end, her 6-2, 7-6, 3 victory over Paolini sent shockwaves through the tournament and the tennis community at large. It was a match that would not be defined by the statistics alone, but by the magnitude of the moment and the promise of a player who had only just begun to showcase her full potential. Now, let's take a closer look at why this win is far more than just a result on the scoreboard. For one, it was the first time in Jovic's young career that she defeated a top 10 player. Her victory wasn't just about the scoreline, nor was it a mere statement of her rising talent. It was a declaration that she was here to stay, that her place in the upper echelons of tennis was not only earned but inevitable. For a teenager ranked 191st this time last year, Jovic's journey to the 4th round at Melbourne Park was nothing short of extraordinary. Just a year ago, she was still finding her footing in the professional ranks, grappling with the demands of a sport that requires not only skill, but an unwavering commitment to growth. But this year, she had already proven her mettle on the WTA Tour. In 2025, she claimed her first singles title at the Guadalajara Open, an achievement that made tennis fans take notice. It wasn't just her first career title, it was the birth of a new force in women's tennis. She followed that up with strong showings in Auckland and Hobart in 2026, laying the foundation for what was to come at the Australian Open. In these early 2026 events, she had begun to show flashes of brilliance, but her victory over Paolini was a level above, an undeniable arrival. Despite her recent success, few expected Jovic to take down Paolini so decisively. Paolini, after all, had made waves with her runner-up finishes at both the French Open and Wimbledon in 2024. She was a player with experience, with pedigree, and with a game that had been built on consistency and resilience at the highest level. Yet, Jovic, despite being the 29th seed and the clear underdog, played with a maturity that belied her years. From the very start of the match, Jovic showed no signs of being overwhelmed. In fact, she exuded confidence, not just in her game, but in her approach to the entire contest. Paolini, with her steady, almost robotic consistency, could not match the power and fluidity Jovic brought to the court. The first set was an absolute masterclass in controlled aggression. Jovic's forehand was a weapon, her backhand was razor-sharp, and her serve was both powerful and accurate. She moved Paolini around the court with ease, dictating play from the baseline with a combination of speed and precision that left Paolini scrambling. When Jovic sealed the first set 6-2, it was with a stunning backhand winner down the line, a shot that encapsulated the style and poise with which she played. For the watching world, this was no ordinary win. It was the moment Iva Jovic introduced herself to the global tennis community. Paolini, by no means a slouch, was reeling. The young American had not only broken her game, but she had done so in such a manner that made it clear. This wasn't a fluke. Jovic's aggressive style was working, and it was working against a player who had been at the top of the game for years. The crowd in Melbourne knew it, the commentators knew it, and most importantly, Jovic knew it. The second set, however, proved to be a much tougher battle. Jovic continued to dictate the play for the majority of the set, but the weight of the occasion started to show. She had the match in her hands, serving for the win at 5-4. Yet, in a brief lapse, she was broken by Paolini, who then seemed to regain some of the momentum. Paolini wasn't ready to give up just yet, and she began to fight back, pushing Jovic to dig deep. But Jovic, rather than folding under the pressure, showed the grit and resilience of a much more seasoned player. She fought back, breaking Paolini again to go ahead 6-5. Still, the match was far from over. In a series of twists and turns, Jovic failed to hold serve once more, sending the set to a tense tiebreak. And here, with the crowd on edge and the match hanging in the balance, Jovic displayed the mental toughness that set her apart. I just tried to focus on what I was doing earlier in the match, being really aggressive and controlling the play, she said her mindset. I just told myself to go out swinging. And that's exactly what she did. She returned to her aggressive baseline tactics, her serve finding its rhythm again, and her movement sharp as ever. Despite the tense circumstances, Jovic's nerves of steel helped her clinch the tiebreak 7-3, securing the victory and a place in the fourth round. It was a moment of triumph, not just for Jovic, but for the sport itself. She had taken down a top 10 player in front of a packed crowd, had overcome the pressure of serving for the match, and had shown that her talent was more than just potential. It was a force to be reckoned with. Jovic's win was significant not only for its result, but for what it represented. A young player breaking through, challenging the established order, and showing that the future of women's tennis isn't just about the players who have already made their mark. It's also about those who are still in the process of making their names. With that victory, Jovic sent a clear message. She was no longer just another young player on the rise. She was here to challenge the game's elite, and she had every intention of continuing to climb the ranks. This moment didn't happen in a vacuum. Jovic's path to this point has been a story of steady growth. From a teenager ranked outside the top 150, she has already secured a WTA title and reached multiple deep runs in tournaments. Her rise has been steady, but undeniably swift. The Australian Open was merely the latest chapter in her journey, one that started with her first career title in Guadalajara in 2025. That victory not only gave her confidence, but it also provided the belief that she could stand toe-to-toe with the very best. What made Jovic's win even more special was the way she handled the pressure of the moment. Tennis, more than many other sports, places a unique burden on young players. Expectations come not only from within, but from the world at large. The weight of everyone waiting to see if you can deliver, if you can live up to the hype, it's immense. But for Jovic, this was more than just about one match. It was about believing in herself and her journey. I've been wanting this one for a while now and working really hard for it, she said after the match. I had a couple of tough losses, and I'm just so happy to get through that barrier and get the win today. In these words, we see not just a young champion, but someone with a deep understanding of what it takes to succeed at the highest level. Her maturity, composure, and ability to reflect on the tough moments rather than simply basking in the glory of her win are what set her apart from many others. Next up for Jovic is Kazakhstan's Yulia Putintseva, a player known for her tenacity and unpredictability. It promises to be another challenge, but for Jovic, that's exactly the kind of match she thrives in. She's already shown she has the game to compete at the highest level, and her victory against Paolini proves that her rise is no fluke. Jovic's journey, like the journeys of many young players before her, will be filled with both triumphs and setbacks. But what she has already demonstrated, what she proved with her victory over Paolini, is that she is ready for the challenges that lie ahead. She is not simply rising through the ranks. She is defining her own path. In the end, Iva Jovic's win over Jasmine Paolini at the 2026 Australian Open wasn't just another upset in the draw. It was the moment the world took notice of a young American who, with every match she plays, is steadily crafting a legacy. And while the road ahead may be long, one thing is clear: Jovic's place in the future of tennis is no longer a question. It's a certainty. She has arrived, and once that attention has been earned, there is no turning back.